Hey everybody, it's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. We got to talk about Tropical Storm Eta and other things that are going to cause some heavy rain this week. It's kind of interesting. I get a lot of people that get confused and say, when are we going to be impacted by Eta? When are we going to see severe weather or wind? We're never really going to be directly impacted by Eta, but it doesn't mean that Eta isn't indirectly causing some moisture to head our way. So it's kind of an interesting setup, and we'll get into it. And it's been a crazy hurricane season, so why not have a crazy end here? So here is Tropical Storm Eta. You can see this is not your typical tropical system. It was a much stronger hurricane in Central America. It broke off and kind of reformed a couple times. At one point, looks like it could have become a hurricane again. It might, but it's not looking very tropical today. In fact, hurricane hunters are finding some interesting, what we call subtropical characteristics to the system. And it's just a swirl of clouds with a very broad wind field. We'll zoom in a little bit closer on the infrared imagery. And I think this is telling because you can see the thunderstorm development near the center is trying to get going again. But this is not what you would call a very strong tropical cyclone. It does not look like a very strong one, at least. And part of the reason why is this. This is dry air. These brighter reds and yellows are kind of surrounding the system. So even though the water temperatures that it's over are pretty warm, it's got wind shear and dry air that are battling it. So the Hurricane Center has now lowered their chances of this reaching a hurricane and likely just going to keep it as a tropical storm. And believe it or not, there's an outside chance it could dissipate altogether. So let me show you the updated track. It just came in at 10 a.m. Look how long this thing is down here too. So the interesting thing about this is you can really tell that none of the rain during the week is going to come from this at all, even if you didn't know anything else about the meteorology of it, because at Saturday at 7 a.m., it's still down in Florida. So during the next 5 days, it's really nowhere near us. So it's not going to impact our weather during the week, but you could see it kind of meandering down here, possibly becoming close to hurricane strength, but then weakening as it moves northeast. And I don't know if it's even going to make it that far, because I'm going to show you some interesting things going on with some of the guidance here, because it is pretty fascinating to see some of this guidance here. So let me go back and talk about the rainfall forecast, because I think this is pretty crucial as well. And I'm going to widen this out. So I'm going to show you the very wide view here, and we'll go through time here. Now, this is the Weather Prediction Center's forecast. Now, I'm going to stop this. I think I'm going to stop this Thursday night. So first thing you notice, this rain down here is associated with Eta. What's going on up here over us? Completely different. There's a disconnect there, and I'll show you why there is in a minute. But then we'll go through the weekend and into early next week, and I'll stop this at Monday morning at 7 a.m. So you can see, look what's going on here. We can clearly see the rainfall from Eta down here, but what in the world is going on up here? Well, this is the interesting thing about how this system is operating. It's actually pumping in moisture to our northeast, but there's also high pressure off the east coast and a trough of low pressure coming in. So it's just not Eta that's causing this. In fact, even without Eta, we would have a bunch of rainfall around here. So let me go to this map and I'll kind of show you the overall view. There's the track, and you can see I'll zoom in close, and you can see, yeah, that doesn't look like much of a tropical system, and you can see a tropical storm all the way to here. So let me remove all this stuff, and we're going to put on the GFS model. And believe it or not, the GFS model, again, has done a relatively good job. But what I love about showing this is it really shows you the features that are going on here. So you can see our tropical system right here. You can also see the big ridge of high pressure. So remember, clockwise flow around high pressure, counterclockwise flow around low pressure, and another low pressure coming in from the west. So you could see those are all confluence, basically, or converging right near the Carolinas. So watch as I put this into motion, and notice that the tropical system, Eta, is staying down in the Gulf of Mexico. But watch what happens to the rainfall over the Carolinas as I go through time. So we'll go through tomorrow. We'll go into Thursday, or really Wednesday night into Thursday. Look what's going on here. Look at all this rain that starts to develop over the Western Carolina, South Carolina. But here's the storm. It's way down here. So something else is driving this. What's going on is we've got a flow of moisture coming up here. This flow is going around here, but it's the high pressure off the East Coast and a cold front, which are coming in. And so what's happening is the squeeze play is going on right there, and you're getting some lift from the mountains, which are causing rainfall. So let me go even further. We'll go through time. This is Wednesday. Look at the heavy rain over the Carolinas. I mean, this is Wednesday afternoon, really heavy rain. Wednesday night, Thursday morning. So Wednesday, Thursday look pretty soggy. We'll go through Thursday afternoon. Now what's interesting is you can see the front kind of getting through. The front actually tries to blast through here. Here's our tropical system still down here, and drier air is trying to work in. So the system's still down in the Gulf of Mexico. The cold front's trying to move through, but it's having trouble because it's remember, the cold front's trying to push out to the east, but what's going on to the east of us? That big Bermuda high, basically, this ridge of high pressure off the east coast, which is what's been giving us all the warm weather, obviously. So here's our tropical system. Here's another high pressure system. Whoops, didn't mean to move that. Here's another high pressure system over the middle of the country. So at the same time, we're trying to get dry air in here. There's a battle right there. The front might stall, and actually the stalled front might be more of a rainmaker. So we'll go through time. We'll go into the weekend. Notice Eta is still down in the Gulf of Mexico at this time. It hasn't come north. We'll go even further out into the future. I'm going to go into the weekend. Eta's somewhere down here. It's actually drifting west. We've got some cool, dry air trying to move in. There's the wedge setting up, which will be interesting on Saturday because we might have a really cold day with raw conditions, especially if northeast winds develop here. And what I'm talking about is high pressure will then build to our north, and the flow starts coming from the northeast. Here's the remnants of Eta, and here comes another cold front. And here comes a stalled front right here. So you can see all the variables in the atmosphere, which are driving a pretty crazy pattern going into the weekend. So here comes the next front. And again, remember, Eta, something, if it's around, it's still down here somewhere. We're going through the weekend. Here comes more rain Sunday. We'll go into early next week. Now, the remnants of Eta are over New Orleans at this time. This is next week sometime. And then we go, here comes another cold front. I don't know if Eta's still there, but if it is, it's somewhere down in there. We go through time, and then the remnants kind of just fall apart, and we never see them again as a cold front. A big cold front comes in high pressure. This is next week. If you're looking for cool air, this is next week. So this is the 18th. This is what, next Wednesday, I believe? Yeah. So next Wednesday, high pressure builds in, and Eta still never moves out of here. It dissipates, gets entrained into this front or something like that. But again, it never really makes it north. And you're saying, oh, okay, Brad, well, that's just one model. True, it is one model. But let's look at another guidance here. This is the European model. And what I'm putting on the European model here is, let me make this a little bit smaller so it's easier to see. Then we'll get it on the screen all at once. So this is what we call, whoops, let me go to the southeast again. This is what we call precipitable water. So this is another good way to track where the moisture is. So this is basically today, tonight into tomorrow. We'll go through and get to Wednesday. Wednesday's the day if you're looking for heavy rain. Notice the brighter colors. That's the deeper moisture. We go into Wednesday morning. Look at that big slug of moisture. So what you're seeing here, here's Eta down here. There's this big plume of moisture coming up here between the ridge off the east coast, and then here comes a cold front. So you can see Eta never really causes our rain. Now and I say that in the simplest, most direct terms, because indirectly it is pushing some moisture up here, but it's not actually going to hit us. That's not what's causing this moisture. And again, one way I talk to people about indirect and direct impacts. If you were to remove that storm in the Gulf of Mexico, if Eta was not there, would we still see rain? And the answer is yes. We have a front, tropical moisture, and high pressure. So even without Eta, we would have rainfall this week. The thing that Eta is doing is enhancing it. It's kind of like a performance-enhancing drug of the atmosphere. It's adding more moisture to the situation, but it's not the main cause of the rainfall. So you can see we go through time. Look at the moisture coming north, but where's Eta? Somewhere over Florida, maybe? And then look how it pushes northeast. So unlike the GFS, which dissipates it over the Gulf of Mexico, the European model takes it northeast. It merges with that first front late this week and into the weekend, and then kind of pushes off to the east and dissipates, and it's gone. So in both scenarios, our number one models that we look at, we don't see much of any impact from Eta. So how much rain? I think that's the number one question. Let's start this wide. We'll go through time again. And I think this is all everyone cares about. Starting Wednesday, this stuff really ramps up, and we see a surge Wednesday, Thursday, and another surge of rain this weekend as two separate fronts head our way. And so this is through Monday morning. If you look, some of these totals, eastern facing slopes, you're looking at probably totals between 4 to 8 inches of rain possible. Those brown colors there, if you look down here, that's 8 inches. And then across the Piedmont, you're looking at widespread 3 to 5 inches of rain. So we'll keep an eye on it. I know it's a complex scenario, and you immediately see a tropical system and you think, oh, that's what's causing our rain. This is one of those cases where, believe it or not, it's not the only reason we're going to see rain. In fact, I'll turn everything back on here. Eta might never make it up this way, but either way, we're going to see some wet weather for the middle of the week.